After I was reborn, I got myself thrown in jail. The first thing I did after I was reborn was get myself sent to a holding cell. When my mom found out, she said I was crazy. My twin sister had a complete meltdown. In my last life, my sister was sleeping with her boss. They got caught on a hotel security camera, and the video went viral online. The guy was a total pretty boy, and his wife was this badass woman with connections on both sides of the law. My whole family pointed the finger at me, insisting I was the one in the video. My sister said, my sister was always a slut in school, always stealing other girls' boyfriends. My mom said, the person in that video is my older daughter. She wasn't home the day it happened. The next day, she came home holding her back, barely able to walk straight. The boss's wife had me kidnapped, shipped off to a black site in Mexico, and had my kidney stolen. In the end, they turned me into a living vase and put me on display. Reborn into this life, I sent myself straight to jail. Ocean View Station. Doors will open on the left. Please watch your step. The subway announcement echoed in my ears. I snapped back to reality. I really was reborn. It was 5:30 p.m. 3 more stops until I was home. I shot up from my seat, my eyes scanning the other passengers. To my right was a fat, creepy-looking guy holding an iPhone, pretending to scroll through videos. In reality, his shifty eyes were darting through the crowd. He was leering at 2 attractive women nearby, trying to sneak a peek up their skirts. You're the one, you fat pig, I thought to myself. Then, I stormed over to the creep and gave him a hard slap across the face. You damn pervert. That'll teach you to film me. I yelled wildly, scratching and hitting the man in front of me. The fat guy was completely stunned. His lips trembled. Hey, what are you doing? I put my hands on my hips, channeling my inner fury. You sick pervert. You creep. You had the guts to film up my skirt, but you don't have the guts to admit it. The creep looked incredibly wronged. Who was filming you? I was just watching videos. Check my phone if you don't believe me. I snatched the guy's phone, threw it on the ground, and stomped on it a few times for good measure. Bullshit. You definitely deleted the pictures. When the creep saw me smash his phone, he let out a yelp. My phone. My work files were on there. What is wrong with you, you crazy girl? By now, a crowd of passengers had gathered, drawn by the commotion. I took my chance, plopped down on the floor, and started making a scene. Everyone, come look. This pervert was grinning like a creep with his phone out. He was definitely trying to film me. Someone help me grab him and take him to the police. The creep's face turned dark, and he looked like he was about to cry from the injustice. Damn it. If I hadn't just seen him trying to peek up that girl's skirt myself, his expression might have actually convinced me he was an honest man. Just then, a few good Samaritans stepped forward. One older woman said, Honey, you've got it wrong. I was sitting right next to him. He really was just watching videos. I grabbed the creep's leg and refused to let go. No. We're going to the police station. You definitely filmed me. The creep was starting to get desperate. His face hardened. Fine, let's go. I'm calling the cops myself to make you pay for my phone. A few minutes later, the train arrived at Ocean View Station. I dragged the creep off the train and stormed toward the Ocean View Police Precinct. In the mediation room, the officers looked exasperated. A veteran cop poured me a glass of water. Miss, we've investigated the matter. The young man did have some inappropriate videos on his phone. The older cop then turned to me again. But he wasn't filming you. His behavior was unethical, and we've already reprimanded him. But you smashed his phone, and you're liable for the damages. The young man said you don't have to buy him a new one, just cover the repair costs. Then we can call it even. My attitude, however, was incredibly defiant. I don't have any money. You can have my life, but you're not getting a dime. So what if I wrongly accused him? I'm still not paying. The old cop tried to reason with me again. Repairing a phone is just a few $100s. Otherwise, we'll have to book you on criminal charges. I shot back, then book me. Go ahead, lock me up if you have the guts. My unreasonable attitude made the officers shake their heads in frustration. The police department called my mom. She screamed at me through the phone. Lauren, are you out of your mind? Why would you smash someone's phone? Apologize to him right now, pay the money and get your ass home. I spoke into the phone. I don't have any money. That piece of junk phone costs over $1,000. Mom, why don't you pay it for me? The moment my mom heard I wanted her to pay, she chewed me out for 3 straight minutes. Finally, she left me with one last sentence. You ungrateful brat, where would I get that kind of money? You made this mess, you can clean it up yourself. That night, I scored myself a nice pair of silver bracelets. 5 days in lockup. The truth is, I knew that fat creep wasn't filming me. But he wasn't a good guy either. I intentionally got myself sent to jail. In my last life, I took the subway home safely. A few days later, a flashy, fierce-looking woman dripping with jewelry showed up at my door with a group of bodyguards. The woman called me a filthy whore and accused me of seducing her husband. She said the video of me and him had been live-streamed all over the internet. Now my explicit photos were everywhere online. As she spoke, she pulled out her phone to show me. I looked, and in the steamy video, the female lead looked exactly like me. I knew instantly what was going on. The star of the video wasn't me, it was my twin sister, Chloe. We were identical twins. The day the video was live-streamed, I was at home sleeping like a log. And that day, my sister just so happened not to come home. I also recognized the man in the video. It was our boss. My sister and I worked at the same company. On our first day, our boss Rick Wong had stared at us lecherously and joked, "Twins, huh? And both so beautiful. Some lucky guy is going to get a 2-for-1 deal, ha ha ha." Our company was a small private business, basically a sweatshop. Seeing what a scumbag the boss was, I wanted to quit right away. But my sister wouldn't let me. Rick offered a high salary, $6,000 a month for a regular employee. Chloe only had a vocational school degree, so finding a high-paying job wasn't easy for her. Plus, she insisted I work at the same company with her. Sis, we're sisters. We can work together every day and never be apart. Wouldn't that be great? My mom sided with my sister. Chloe's idea is great. If you two are at the same company, you can look out for each other. Otherwise, Chloe might get bullied by her co-workers. So with no other choice, I, a top-tier university grad, had to grit my teeth and join this no-name company, working like a dog every day. Less than 2 weeks after we started, my sister was promoted to be the manager's secretary, and her salary jumped to $10,000. But I saw them with my own eyes several times. My sister and Rick, making eyes at each other in his office. Once, during a meeting, Rick brazenly put his hand on my sister's leg. I told my mom about it, hoping she would talk some sense into Chloe. After all, everyone in the company knew Rick was a married man. But when my mom heard, she pointed at my nose and tore into me. "Lauren, you're a real piece of work. How dare you spread such filth about your own sister? I know what kind of person Chloe is. She's beautiful and sweet. Of course the boss promoted her. You, on the other hand, walk around with that dead fish face all day. You can't compare to Chloe in any way." My mom had always favored my sister. Even if Chloe committed murder, my mom would spin it into some act of heroism. After that, I stopped meddling in Chloe's business. She started staying out all night more and more frequently. In my last life, everything blew up on the night I took the subway home. My sister went to a hotel with Rick. They didn't realize it was a shady place. Someone had installed a hidden camera in the room. My sister and Rick's escapades were captured in crystal clear detail and live-streamed on the dark web. Rick was a kept man, all his assets were in his wife's name. When his wife showed up with her bodyguards, my sister and my mom threw me under the bus. That rich woman had connections everywhere. When I remember my miserable end, my limbs cut off, stuffed into a vase, and paraded around like a circus freak, I want to burn Chloe and my mom to ashes. 5 days later, I was released. I had just reached my front door when a whole crowd of people swarmed out. Several burly bodyguards pinned me to the ground. "I finally got you, you little bitch." Rick's wife, Sharon, slowly emerged from behind the bodyguards. Everyone called her Sharon. She stood in front of me, planting her stumpy legs, radiating menace. "You dare sleep with my man? I see you've got a death wish." I lifted my head. "Ma'am, what are you talking about? I don't understand." Just like in my last life, Sharon pulled out her phone and showed me the scandalous video. 5 days ago, you were in a hotel with my husband. It was live streamed on the dark web. Don't play dumb with me now, you little bitch. Just then, my mom opened the door. My sister clung to her side. Seeing me pinned to the ground, Chloe's voice was as meek as a little bunny. Sis, you should hurry up and apologize to Mrs. Wong. The whole internet knows about you and our boss now. My mom chimed in. Lauren, how could I have raised such a shameless daughter? I was wondering why I hadn't seen you for days. When you did come home, you were complaining about your back and your butt hurting, and you could barely walk straight. I raised my head, stuck out my neck, and yelled at Sharon. It wasn't me. You've got the wrong person. I was in jail for the past few days. What? Sharon's body visibly flinched when she heard my words. You're telling me a young girl like you was locked up in a police station? I nodded frantically. That's right. The police can prove it. Just then, another set of footsteps rushed into the hallway. The commotion between our family and Sharon had been so loud that it had disturbed the neighbors. One of them had secretly called the police to report a disturbance. 3 or 4 officers walked up to our door. One of them pointed at me. Hey, it's you again. You just got out today, and you're already looking to go back in. Hearing the officer, Sharon asked in astonishment, Are you saying this woman was just released today? Causing a disturbance on the subway, destruction of property. She was just released after 5 days in detention, and here you are, causing trouble again. The officer started lecturing me, but at that moment, my sister rushed out of the room and pushed her way in front of the cops. Officer, you've got the wrong person. Actually, I was the one who was in jail a few days ago. The officer was still in the middle of lecturing me when he suddenly saw my sister, 2 identical girls standing before him. He was momentarily confused. What? There's another one? And you 2 look exactly alike. At that moment, Sharon also put 2 and 2 together. It dawned on her. So there are 2 daughters. 5 days ago, one went to jail, and the other was sleeping with my husband. Sharon eagerly asked the veteran officer, Sir, tell me, was it Lauren or Chloe who was locked up these past few days? Damn it. They're twins, and they're trying to pull a badger game on me. The officer looked at me, then at my sister. He shook his head. I can't tell these 2 girls apart. But we have records at the station. Let me just check the database real quick. The officer took out his phone and fiddled with it for a moment. Then he spoke slowly. The one who went to jail was Chloe. As soon as the officer said that, a triumphant glint appeared in Chloe's eyes. Wait, how could the police get the name of a detainee wrong? I clearly went through identity verification. Unless, after I was arrested, a family member went to the police station with our household registration and changed my information. I looked up at the faces of my mom and Chloe. Right now, the 2 of them were exchanging looks, their expressions full of smug satisfaction. Sharon was also glaring at me with venomous hatred. She said in a snide tone, Well, Lauren, you little bitch, you really dared to play me for a fool. You do something disgusting and then pin it on your sister. You've got some nerve, huh? Sharon's eyes were filled with malice. But with the police present, she didn't dare do anything. Still, her gaze was so fiery it felt like she wanted to swallow me whole. Just then I gave a little shrug. Wow. Mom, Chloe. I never knew you 2 were so in sync. You even managed to pull a switcheroo on a jail record, all to frame me. My sister tilted her head back and shot back at me. Sis, you're the one trying to pin this on me. Now that the officer has proven my innocence, what else do you have to say? Just apologize to Mrs. Wong. After all, you're the one who stole her husband. My mom also chimed in with a disappointed, preachy tone. Lauren, just admit it. It's not too late to change. It's your own fault for being so flirty with boys since you were little, not prim and proper like Chloe. I've told you so many times to have some morals. Don't be blinded by money. All that money Rick spent on you belongs to Mrs. Wong. Just get on your knees, bow your head to her, pay the money back, and stop causing trouble. My mother and sister teamed up, their words intended to nail me to a pillar of shame. How could they not know what Sharon was capable of? On the surface, they were telling me to apologize and pay up. But secretly, they wanted to see me destroyed. Just then, another set of hurried footsteps approached. A cool female voice spoke up. I know how to tell which one of them was in custody. At that moment, a wave of joy washed over me. My evidence had finally arrived. Everyone turned toward the voice. A young woman with a high ponytail, dressed in athletic wear, was running toward us. When she saw the police officers in the hallway, she walked up to the veteran cop and gave a crisp, clean salute. Officer Martinez, we've met. I'm Julia. When I was an intern, your partner was my mentor. The veteran officer instantly recognized her. Julia, what are you doing here? Which department are you in now? It's been over a year, hasn't it? Julia exchanged pleasantries. I'm a corrections officer at the detention center now. The girl who was locked up, I was the one watching over her for 5 full days. As Julia spoke, she turned and pointed at my chest. I can prove that the person in the detention center for the past few days was this girl. My mom and Chloe's faces darkened. My mom hastily spoke up. Young lady, how can you lie with a straight face? The one who was locked up was my younger daughter. My sister added. My sister and I are twins. Sometimes, even our own mother can't tell us apart. Officer Julia, you rushed over here to testify for my sister. Did she pay you off? Chloe's words made Julia tremble with anger. She roared with conviction. You are questioning my professional integrity. As long as I wear this uniform, I serve the people. To accuse me of taking a bribe is an insult to me and to all my fellow officers. Chloe was relentless. Officer Julia, you claim you didn't take any money. Then why are you here at my house today in your street clothes? Besides, Officer Martinez already proved that the person detained was me, Chloe. But you rushed in here and immediately started vouching for my sister. That doesn't quite add up, does it? I have to admit, my sister had a sharp tongue. Even Officer Martinez frowned upon hearing her words. She has a point, Julia. You're a corrections officer. What are you doing at a former inmate's home? What's more, our records clearly state that the person detained for 5 days was Chloe. Julia, still young, was being attacked from all sides and was at a loss for words. At that moment, I suddenly smirked. I reached up, grabbed a section of my hair, and gently pulled it down. Suddenly, a shiny, bald head was revealed to everyone. I said, Officer Julia and I have no prior relationship. The reason she's willing to testify for me is because, during my time in custody, I was bald the entire time. She was the one who shaved my head. How could she not recognize me? I ran my hand over my smooth, egg-like head. With the wig off, my scalp actually felt quite nice. Seeing my bald head, Chloe let out a scream. Your hair, your hair. Just then Julia also explained. That's right. 5 days ago, on the night she was brought in, she had a lot of bubble gum stuck in her hair. I was going to get a pair of scissors to trim the ends for her, but she begged me to find some electric clippers and shave it all off. As Julia spoke, she pulled out her phone. I have a photo on my phone as proof. After I shaved her head, she asked me to take a picture for her as a souvenir. Julia found the photo she had saved on her phone 5 days earlier. The date in the corner of the photo clearly showed November 2nd. Julia continued. As for why I'm at Lauren's house today, it's because when she was released this morning, she asked me to help her move. She told me in the detention center that her mother plays favorites and her sister always tries to frame her for things. She doesn't want to live with her family anymore and wants to rent her own place. But she doesn't have many friends and was afraid she couldn't handle moving alone, so she asked me for help. At that moment, I suddenly rushed forward and hugged Julia, sobbing. Julia, now you believe me, right? My mom has always favored my sister and treated me badly since we were little. Now that my sister has done something so shameful, my mom is still trying to pin it all on me. Julia patted my back and asked through gritted teeth. Yes. How can you be so cruel to your own flesh and blood? Ma'am, isn't Lauren your daughter too? My mom stammered, caught off guard by Julia's question. It was my sister, Chloe, who reacted the fastest. She retorted hysterically. So what if my sister is bald? You can say that photo was taken 5 days ago, but photos can be edited. The date on the photo is obviously fake. You two are in this together. Even now, my sister was still desperately trying to discredit the officer. Julia was completely enraged. She stated firmly, "Photos can be faked, but can the surveillance footage from the detention center be faked? Every corner of the facility is monitored by high-definition cameras, 24/7. If you want to know if I'm telling the truth, all you have to do is check our internal surveillance footage, and it will prove my innocence." Julia added, "Chloe, I don't know you, but today, you have repeatedly slandered me, accusing me of colluding with your sister and taking bribes. That's defamation, and it's an insult to my profession. I have the right to sue you to clear my name." Watching this whole farce unfold, even a fool like Sharon could see who was right and who was wrong. Sharon glanced at me and my sister, then nodded with a sinister smile. "Good. What a fantastic show. So the little slut who slept with my husband has been playing me for a fool. Don't you worry. I have plenty of connections. I can get my hands on more than just detention center surveillance footage. I can dig up your entire family history for 18 generations. You just wait, you little bitch." Although Sharon had connections, there were still several police officers present. She waved a hand at her bodyguards, and the group departed. But knowing Sharon's personality, the person who had truly played her would face a fate 100 times worse than mine in my past life. Now the situation was serious. The identity of the person in jail was in question. Chloe and my mom had accused a corrections officer of taking bribes. Officer Martinez frowned and gestured to the officers behind him. "Take them all back to the station. Bribery of a public official is a serious matter, but so is falsely accusing a law enforcement officer. This can't be resolved here. Take them all in for investigation." The three of us were escorted into a police car. The same day I got out of jail, I was right back in. The investigation went very smoothly. The detention center had 24-hour surveillance. One search of the system, and the truth was instantly clear. On the footage in the women's section, there was a very conspicuous bald head, sitting obediently on a bunk day after day, occasionally being let out to the yard for fresh air. My bald head was too eye-catching. Even if Chloe looked exactly like me, her head was covered in dark hair. You couldn't pluck it all out to be that shiny. In less than 10 minutes, Chloe and my mom were taken into custody for making false accusations against a law enforcement officer. After leaving the police station, Julia put her arm around my shoulder, full of sympathy. "Lauren, I can't believe everything you told me a few days ago was true. To think there are parents as biased as your mom and a sister as wicked as yours in this world." The truth was out. Although my mom and Chloe were involved in making false accusations, it wasn't a major crime. They'd likely be held for 24 hours, given a lecture, and released. I pleaded with Julia. "Julia, can you help me move? I'm on bad terms with my family now. I'm afraid when my mom and sister get out, they won't let me off easy." "No problem. Let's go, it's no big deal." That afternoon, Julia helped me pack some clothes. With my personal savings, I quickly found a furnished studio apartment in the city and moved in immediately. Actually, it wasn't my mom and sister I feared most. It was Sharon, the woman who had me killed in my last life. She was a vicious and twisted woman. Even though she now knew it was Chloe who had been with her husband, I had to be careful not to get caught in the crossfire as Chloe's family. But half a month went by. Chloe and my mom had long been released. And from Sharon's end, there was nothing but silence. In my last life, by this time, she had already impatiently sent people to abduct me and fly me to that black site in Mexico. At this point, I would have been on an operating table, my kidney gone. But now, Chloe was living a life of leisure. Her social media feed was full of shopping sprees and afternoon tea with her friends. About another week passed. It was almost my mom's birthday. The day before, my mom called me. "Lauren, a mother and daughter shouldn't stay mad at each other. Tomorrow is my 60th birthday. Please come home and have dinner with me." My mom's voice was unusually gentle, almost pleading. "Lauren, I admit I was wrong to you. But you know, when Chloe was born, she only weighed 4 pounds. She's been frail since she was a child, so I did favor her. All these years, I've neglected your feelings. But it's my birthday tomorrow. Aren't you even going to come see me? Chloe also kept sending me texts on WhatsApp. Sis, what's past is past. Mom bought a lot of your favorite dishes today. You don't really want to cut us off forever, do you? After hanging up, I thought for a long time. I sent a message back to Chloe. I'll be home for dinner at 6 p.m. tomorrow. The next evening arrived. After much deliberation, I took a car back home. As soon as I opened the door, I saw the dining table laden with food. A full spread of 12 dishes, including chicken and fish. Only my mom and Chloe were home. My mom greeted me warmly. Lauren, hurry and wash your hands. It's time to eat. In my 25 years of life, this was the first time my mom had ever been so gentle with me. I washed my hands and sat stiffly at the table. Chloe poured me a glass of red wine. Sis, it's Mom's 60th birthday. Have a couple of drinks with her. I cautiously pushed the glass away. No thanks. My stomach's been bothering me lately. I can't drink. My mom shot Chloe a look. She rubbed her hands together and sat down at the table. Then don't drink. Eat more food. Here, try some of Mom's cooking. Every dish on the table was sweet. But it was Chloe who loved sweet food. I had always preferred lighter flavors. Yet our family's meals were always loaded with sugar. I picked up my chopsticks and forced myself to take a couple of bites. Not bad. Seeing this, my mom kept piling food onto my plate. Lauren, it's just good to have you back. Mom doesn't mean anything else by it. I just want our family to be together. Hearing this, I nodded lightly and ate a few more bites of a cold dish. Suddenly, my vision started to blur, and I felt dizzy and lightheaded. Just then, Chloe slammed her chopsticks on the table. Sis, you really are an idiot. We told you to come home, and you just came. Let me tell you, I did put something in the wine, but it was the antidote. It was the food. Mom loaded every single dish with a massive dose of hallucinogens. I struggled to hold myself up and looked at Chloe. What do you want? Chloe smiled cruelly. What do I want? Do you have any idea who Sharon is? She has connections everywhere. You exposed my affair with Rick to her. Did you really think she would let me go? But Sharon has people she fears too. Have you heard of Mr. Huang, the DC kingpin? He's a big shot in the underworld, and even Sharon has to show him some respect. The thing is, Mr. Huang likes virgins, and he's taken a liking to my face. So sister, tonight you just enjoy yourself. As Chloe spoke, she clapped her hands. A man in his 70s, wearing a dark, old-fashioned suit, walked out of Chloe's bedroom. He was holding a leather whip, and Chloe's room was filled with red candles. The old man nodded at Chloe and my mom with satisfaction. Yes, not bad. Pretty and well built. A fine piece. Tonight, after I've had my fill, I'll take care of Sharon for you. As Mr. Huang spoke, he walked over to me and lifted my chin. I wanted to push him away, but my body was limp. I didn't even have the strength to lift my arm. Mr. Huang couldn't lift me, so he grabbed my collar and started dragging me toward the bedroom. Just then, there was a loud banging on our front door. Open up. We know you're in there. Open the door now, or we're coming in. The person at the door was none other than Julia, and she had brought a whole team of police officers with her, including a breaching team. The truth is, ever since my mom called me yesterday, I knew something was wrong. We were mother and daughter. I had lived in this house for 25 years. I knew them better than they knew themselves. My mom would rather see me dead than ever treat me with such kindness, unless she was up to no good. So before I came home, I called Julia. I kept my phone on me, with the speaker on the whole time. Every single thing that happened in the house, Julia could hear clearly on her end. The banging grew more urgent. Then with a loud bang, the police broke down the door with a battering ram. Julia rushed into the room and ran to my side. Lauren, are you okay? You fool. Why would you put yourself in danger like this? Julia hugged me, crying, her hands stroking my face. She wailed. Call an ambulance. Call an ambulance. My mom and Chloe were arrested once again. Even Mr. Huang was taken to the station for a little chat. Luckily, I was only drugged. The food didn't contain any lethal poison. I spent the night in the hospital on an 4 drip. By the next day, I felt much better. Julia sat on my bed, shaking her head in disappointment. That Mr. Huang seems to have some pull. He denied everything, claiming he had nothing to do with it. He was released last night. As for your mom and Chloe, even though they drugged you, it didn't cause any serious harm. They probably won't be locked up for long. I was holding Julia's hand, smiling without a care in the world. It didn't matter how long they were inside. What mattered was that without Mr. Huang as their protector, the punishment Chloe deserved was coming, sooner or later. And sure enough, it did. My mom and Chloe were only in for 3 months. The very day they were released, Chloe was grabbed by a group of burly men and thrown into a silver gray van. My mom tried to stop them but was beaten so badly she ended up in the emergency room. When my mom was wheeled out of the ER, the doctor told me, the patient has multiple internal injuries and a ruptured liver. Both her legs were run over by a car. I'm afraid she'll be bedridden and permanently disabled for the rest of her life. I thanked the doctors profusely for saving my mother's life. The hospital staff all commented on what a filial daughter I was, so concerned about my own mother. Of course I wanted my mother to live. In fact, I hoped she would live a long and healthy life. In my last life, she made me suffer so much. If she died so easily, it would be a waste of my second chance. I brought my mother home and hired a male caregiver to look after her meticulously. The caregiver used to work as a butcher in a slaughterhouse and had a notoriously bad temper. His wife had also cheated on him and run off with another man, so he had a special hatred for women. I paid the caregiver $3,000 a month. I also told him that the reason my mom divorced my dad was because she had an affair. Hearing this, a sinister smile spread across the caregiver's face. I gave him a special instruction. Make sure my mother lives a long time. As for the rest, well, an old woman paralyzed in bed is bound to suffer a little. I think you understand. The caregiver nodded emphatically. After that, my mother's bedroom was soundproofed. After all, from morning till night, her blood-curdling screams would fill the room. I also gave the caregiver the candles and whip that Mr. Huang had left behind. After all, his wife had been gone for a long time. He could use a little excitement in his life. With my mother's situation settled, it wasn't long before I got news from Julia. Sharon, Mr. Huang, and their entire crew had been arrested for organized crime. Sharon, in particular, was implicated in organ trafficking, illegal gambling, fraud, and other heinous activities. The truth is, after I was hospitalized that day, I told Julia everything about my rebirth. Julia was a cop, after all, and I knew her father was a high-ranking official who was planning a major crackdown on organized crime. I told Julia everything I remembered from my past life, including all the clues I had about Sharon. Within a few short months, a special task force was formed, and they brought down Sharon, Mr. Huang, and their entire network. A month later, the police department called me to say they had found the remains of the missing Chloe. She was discovered in northern Mexico. Her fate was exactly what mine had been in my past life. Kidneys stolen, hands and feet cut off, and stuffed into a vase. But Chloe had always been frail. After only 3 days in the vase, her whole body began to rot, and she died. To think, in my last life, I was tormented in that vase for a full 3 months before I finally expired. However, according to the confessions of some of the henchmen arrested in Mexico, Sharon had hated Chloe to the core. When they harvested her kidney and cut off her limbs, they did it while she was fully conscious, without any anesthesia. The police officer recounted these details to me. On the outside, I wiped away tears with my hand, but inside, I was bursting with joy. 6 months later, the cases against Sharon, Mr. Huang, and the others went to trial. Both were found guilty of multiple crimes related to organized crime, and were sentenced to death. On the day Sharon was executed, my mother, under the care of the male caregiver, also died in her bed from widespread skin infections and multiple organ failure. I had my mother's body cremated, put the ashes in a plastic bag, and threw it in the trash. The family home and all the savings were now mine. The day the property transfer was finalized, I held hands with Julia and went to a hot pot restaurant to celebrate. In our private room, we raised our glasses to toast our newfound wealth and to a beautiful future. The end.